Ever feel like you're in a willpower versus habit dance-off and habit keeps winning every single time? You've tried New Year's resolutions, white-knuckled your way through challenges, and wondered why sheer willpower never seems to stick. This isn't about viral TikTok trends or fleeting motivation. This is about discovering whether raw willpower, or the quiet, consistent strength of habit, is your ultimate secret weapon for discipline and long-term success. Stop relying on brute force effort that burns out and start leveraging subtle systems that make progress inevitable. Imagine achieving your biggest goals with minimal struggle, no internal battles, and seamless momentum. This audiobook is your blueprint for radical personal transformation, showing you how to turn habits into automatic goal achievers and unlock your ultimate main character energy for life. Which side will win for you, willpower or habit? The answer will determine whether your success is temporary or unstoppable. Stay with me because what you are about to hear will change your perception and help you develop unshakable willpower for success. Chapter 1. The Myth of Raw Willpower. You are conditioned to believe that willpower is endless, that sheer force of mind should carry you through every challenge. Yet every day proves otherwise when your intentions crumble under fatigue, distraction, or delayed action. Your brain is not a limitless reservoir. It is an engine that consumes energy with every conscious decision, and you will learn that fighting against your natural rhythms is a guaranteed route to failure. Willpower is finite. It diminishes with every choice you make, every resisting impulse you force yourself to overcome, and every hour spent against your inherent energy flow. Night owls forced to rise at dawn experience the same depletion as early birds burning past midnight, yet society tells you to ignore your body's signals, to soldier on, and to rely on strength alone. That advice is the exact reason you struggle, and understanding this truth is not optional. You cannot win by willpower alone because it is designed to expire. It is designed to falter, and any attempt to rely exclusively on it will meet predictable failure unless you adjust your strategy to account for energy cycles that were hardwired long before you consciously tried to resist fatigue. Pause and consider this. Every choice you make today either strengthens your energy or drains it. Are you deliberately spending it, or are you wasting it on forces you cannot control? Consider every failed diet attempt, every abandoned New Year's resolution, every habit you promised yourself you would adopt, and notice a pattern. These failures are never a reflection of moral weakness. They are reflections of ignoring your biological design. When your body signals fatigue, your brain reallocates energy away from deliberate self-control toward maintaining basic functions. The decisions you thought were deliberate are in fact battles fought with a depleted army. Attempting to resist cravings or push past exhaustion is like asking a soldier who has marched for 20 miles to sprint the last mile. The result is predictable, and the lesson is clear. You are not broken. You are misaligned. Your attempts to exercise raw willpower are wasted energy if you do not account for the natural oscillation of alertness and cognitive capacity. Imagine how much easier life would be if you knew exactly when your energy is strongest and acted only in that window, leaving exhaustion for those unprepared to plan. Neuroscience reveals that willpower operates through a form of energy consumption in the prefrontal cortex, which manages planning, impulse control, and focus. Every choice, every act of self-restraint draws from this finite pool. The more decisions you make in conflict with your body's preferred schedule, the faster your reserves deplete. You can will yourself to rise early, to resist sugar, or to complete a task late at night. But doing so repeatedly without accounting for natural peaks guarantees frustration. The mental fatigue is not subjective, it is physiological. Your circadian rhythm dictates periods of high alertness and periods of low energy, And operating outside this rhythm is a guaranteed obstacle to sustained effort. To ignore it is to misunderstand why raw willpower feels like a myth. It is not a myth, it is misapplied energy, expended at the wrong time against the wrong resistance. Ask yourself now, how often have you blamed yourself for failure when the real enemy was timing, not capability? Recognize that your brain's energy is a currency, and every act of conscious control has a cost. You will never be able to will yourself into perpetual action without collapse. And this understanding is not a compromise, but a foundation. Accepting the limits of willpower is not surrender. It is the first strategic step toward mastery. You must identify when your mind is capable of executing precise control and when it is necessary to rely on structures that bypass conscious effort. Every attempt to brute force self-discipline without this awareness is destined to falter. Your failures are not moral, they are mechanical. The brain is an instrument with finite reserves, and it operates on a predictable schedule, one that you can exploit if you align effort with energy, rather than trying to impose effort upon exhaustion. Consider this challenge. If you do not respect your natural cycles today, you will spend tomorrow repeating the same failed patterns unnecessarily. Now confront the truth without excuse. Every time you attempt to rely purely on willpower, you are gambling with depleted reserves and expecting an outcome that biology refuses to support. The truth is uncomfortable but essential. You cannot push beyond your natural cycles and expect sustainable performance. Your brain, body, and energy peaks are a system, and ignoring that system is the exact reason you experience repeated failure. Willpower is strongest when your mind is fully fueled, when energy is abundant, and when conscious choice can operate without immediate competition from exhaustion. Forcing action outside these windows is not discipline, it is strain, and strain will break you before you achieve anything meaningful. Reflect deeply. The next time you feel incapable, ask whether it is a failure of character or simply a misalignment with your own biology. You will also notice that external stress compounds depletion. When your environment demands repeated decision-making, constant interruptions, or prolonged focus during your natural low-energy periods, your willpower erodes faster than expected. Every small resistance, every minor choice, chips away at the reservoir until you reach a point where even simple action feels impossible. You may blame circumstance, fatigue, or lack of motivation, but the deeper truth is biological inevitability. This is why understanding your natural rhythms is not optional, it is survival. To master self-discipline, you must design a framework that allows action to occur when energy is abundant, not when it is scarce, because raw willpower is a temporary currency, not a permanent resource. How many battles could be won effortlessly if you simply chose the right time to act instead of forcing the wrong moment? You will no longer ignore your body's signals. You will recognize the times of day when your mind is sharpest and schedule your highest effort actions accordingly. You will see every failed attempt not as a moral failing, but as a mismatch between effort and biological readiness. You will remove the illusion that sheer force alone can overcome fatigue. Willpower is a tool for initiation, not maintenance, and your task is to become precise in its application. You will measure effort, energy, and timing, aligning them so that the struggle to act is minimized and success becomes inevitable. Every attempt to push past natural limits without this alignment is wasted energy. You will not excuse failure with distractions or justifications. You will confront the mechanisms of fatigue, understand the role of your chronotype, and direct effort strategically. Raw willpower alone is never enough. It cannot carry you indefinitely. The myth of limitless self-control ends here. You will no longer gamble with depleted reserves. You will act with timing, with understanding, and with deliberate, uncompromising precision, because this is how mastery begins. Chapter 2. The Unseen Power of Habit. Habits exist to remove conscious struggle from your life, to automate success in alignment with your natural strengths, and to make action inevitable without the constant taxation of willpower. You will understand that a single habit executed daily has more power than an hour of intense but sporadic effort because it aligns your energy and your environment to act without conscious friction. Habit is not convenience. It is the machinery of mastery operating beneath awareness, silently shaping every result while you sleep, eat, and work. When aligned with your chronotype, habits allow your highest effort behaviors to coincide with your natural alertness, minimizing the need for deliberate resistance. You will learn to leverage these patterns to create routines that perform the work of discipline automatically, removing reliance on fleeting willpower and establishing a foundation that cannot be disrupted by fatigue or distraction. Pause and consider this. How much energy have you wasted resisting yourself instead of letting habits carry the load? Every habit functions through a loop: cue, routine, reward. The cue triggers action, the routine executes it, and the reward reinforces the behavior. You will learn to manipulate each component with precision. The cue is your environment, not your intention. The routine is your consistent action, not your fleeting resolve. The reward is intrinsic reinforcement, not external validation. When implemented at times that align with peak alertness, the habit loop operates effortlessly, bypassing the conscious mind entirely. You will not rely on reminders of why you should act. Instead, your body and brain will respond automatically, performing the necessary action because the system is designed to do so. Your energy is preserved, your mind is uncluttered, and the result becomes inevitable. Ask yourself now, if your environment dictated success automatically, how much of your day would be wasted arguing with yourself? Habit stacking compounds this effect. By linking new behaviors to existing routines, you leverage already established energy patterns, creating a chain reaction of automatic action. You will schedule habits during high alert periods dictated by your chronotype, allowing repetition to solidify behavior without requiring constant willpower. Small adjustments in environment, timing, and sequence amplify results exponentially. This is not theory. It is the exact mechanism by which disciplined action becomes effortless. You will not wait for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. You will use habits to execute action regardless of desire or fatigue, building momentum that compounds daily, weekly, and monthly. You will also design your surroundings intentionally. A habit cannot flourish in conflict with its context. If your environment encourages distraction or provides temptation, every action becomes a conscious struggle, and willpower is taxed unnecessarily. You will remove friction, place cues deliberately, and create conditions where desired behaviors are the path of least resistance. Your mind will act in harmony with surroundings, with minimal conscious interference, and your outcomes will reflect the precision of this alignment. Reflect on this. When was the last time you blamed yourself instead of your environment for repeated failure? Habit is energy conservation applied to action, and when leveraged properly, it is unstoppable. You will observe that struggle diminishes as habits solidify. Initial friction is inevitable, but repetition transforms difficulty into automaticity. You will stack behaviors, align routines with peak energy periods, and create an environment where discipline is not optional but unavoidable. Your mind no longer debates whether to act. It executes because the system you constructed commands compliance. You will schedule behaviors to coincide with natural alertness, reinforce them consistently, and eliminate the need for constant, conscious effort. Habit does not wait for permission, it acts. Ask yourself this simple question. How many hours of wasted debate could be erased if your habits were fully aligned with your energy? You will harness this force deliberately, aligning it to every goal, every task, every element of performance that requires consistent output. Habit is invisible yet omnipotent. It shapes results more than any burst of willpower ever could. You will understand that success is the consequence of alignment, timing, environment, repetition, and reinforcement. You will no longer rely on temporary resolve. You will engineer conditions for automatic execution, stacking actions upon actions, and allowing your peak energy periods to dictate your highest value behaviors. Effort becomes effortless. Action becomes inevitable. You will leverage this unseen power deliberately and without hesitation because mastery is impossible without structural design. You will transform every struggle into automated behavior. You will stack habits logically, reward consistently, and schedule every action during periods of optimal alertness dictated by your chronotype. Every moment of conscious effort preserved is energy applied strategically. You will eliminate the myth that discipline is only willpower and embrace the fact that sustained action arises from invisible systems engineered with intention. Habit is the machinery of execution, silent yet relentless, and you will make it your primary instrument for success, aligning every behavior with your peak energy windows to reduce resistance, increase efficiency, and make achievement inevitable. Chapter 3. The Interplay, Willpower as a Catalyst for Habit Formation. You will understand that willpower is not the engine of sustained discipline, but the spark that ignites new habits, providing the initial thrust necessary to overcome inertia and establish patterns that operate without constant conscious effort. You will deploy willpower strategically, not as a daily crutch, but as a precise tool to catalyze change during periods when your mind is most alert, when energy is abundant, and when resistance is minimized by alignment with your natural chronotype. The initial effort is temporary, measured, and intentional, designed to create a trajectory that requires less future effort because systems have been activated correctly from the outset. You will stop wasting willpower on maintaining behaviors indefinitely and instead use it exclusively to push past inertia, establish a foundation, and allow habit to take over where conscious control is unsustainable. Pause and ask yourself, how often have you relied on raw effort to sustain change, only to be frustrated by predictable depletion? The first step is understanding friction. You will notice that any new behavior feels heavier, more cumbersome, and more resistant than old routines. This resistance is not a flaw. It is a signal, a marker of the energy cost required to reroute your brain's habitual pathways. You will confront this friction directly, deploying focused willpower during windows of peak alertness to overcome initial inertia, knowing that once the habit is activated and repeated, the weight of conscious effort diminishes dramatically. Timing is crucial. Attempting new behaviors during low energy periods guarantees failure because the brain reallocates resources toward basic function rather than new pattern formation. You will schedule initiation of every habit during periods when alertness is naturally high, when energy reserves are abundant, and when your chronotype supports peak cognitive engagement. Let's reflect. What behaviors could become effortless if initiated during your natural high alert windows rather than imposed at random times? Momentum is built through small wins. You will understand that every completed action, every repetition, strengthens neural pathways, creating positive reinforcement that reduces future resistance and makes subsequent behaviors easier to execute. Willpower is most effective when focused on the first few repetitions, when friction is greatest, and when a successful execution sets the trajectory for effortless continuation. Each successful repetition compounds and the system begins to operate autonomously. You will not underestimate this principle. Even minor victories, repeated consistently, generate cumulative strength that far exceeds the energy expenditure of a single prolonged burst of raw willpower applied sporadically. You will notice that initial effort dictates future freedom. The first push matters more than endless repetition in the wrong timing. You will also recognize that habits formed under optimal conditions become resilient. Initial effort must be concentrated when your mind is sharpest, because the first repetitions establish the framework for automaticity. Attempting to initiate change during periods of low energy not only depletes willpower, but risks establishing weak or inconsistent patterns that will require repeated intervention. You will act deliberately during high alert windows, fully aware that your energy allocation determines the likelihood of habit reinforcement. Willpower is the catalyst. Habit is the sustaining force. Without precise timing, the spark will fade, leaving you exhausted and unchanged. Ask yourself, how many half-started habits lie dormant simply because your effort was applied at the wrong moment? You will use your understanding of energy cycles to determine when to apply maximum conscious control and when to rely on habit. You will not confuse effort with progress. Willpower deployed haphazardly is wasted energy. Willpower deployed strategically is transformation. Every initial friction overcome during high-energy periods strengthens habit loops, reduces resistance for future repetitions, and allows action to become automatic over time. You will prioritize initiation over maintenance, understanding that the majority of effort in sustained discipline lies not in persistence, but in starting correctly. You will stack small, high-value actions to compound influence. Each successful behavior, aligned with natural energy cycles, produces feedback that reinforces identity, motivation, and efficiency simultaneously. You will not underestimate the psychological impact of completion. Every repetition signals capability, strengthens neural pathways, and reduces reliance on conscious control. Over time, the combination of strategic willpower and aligned habit creates an unstoppable loop, where action no longer requires mental struggle, resistance diminishes, and execution becomes inevitable. Understand this. Every small victory today compounds into systems of effortless execution tomorrow. Are you arranging your actions to benefit from this compounding effect? You will embrace willpower as a short-term, high-intensity tool used only when inertia demands it, and habit as the long-term infrastructure that sustains success without continuous conscious effort. You will engineer conditions for initial friction to be overcome, for small victories to accumulate, and for systems to operate autonomously, freeing your mind for higher-level decisions rather than constant micro-resistance. You will internalize the fact that mastery is not brute force. It is precise alignment of energy, timing, and repeated execution. From this point forward, you will stop relying on raw willpower to maintain consistency. You will use it only to ignite new behaviors during periods of peak alertness, allowing habit to absorb the burden of repetition. You will schedule initiation, leverage high-energy windows, and transform friction into automated action. The interplay between willpower and habit is no longer theoretical. It is a precise mechanism that you will implement with discipline, awareness, and exacting control. Every habit you initiate strategically becomes a permanent asset, requiring less conscious effort and producing greater results over time, turning discipline into a self-sustaining force that cannot be derailed by fatigue or distraction. Chapter 4. Mastering the Daily Grind, Practical Applications. You will understand that success is engineered, not wished for, and that every environment you inhabit, every tool you use, and every routine you adopt has a measurable impact on your ability to execute consistently. Your environment is not neutral. It either facilitates action or amplifies resistance, and you will take full responsibility for shaping it to maximize alignment with your chronotype and energy cycles. Temptations are neutralized before they reach conscious awareness. Cues for desired behaviors are embedded into the structure of your surroundings, and friction is deliberately placed in the path of distraction to ensure focus is inevitable. You will remove excuses by controlling context because discipline is not an internal debate. It is the outcome of intentional design. Now ask yourself how much of your energy is wasted every day fighting your environment rather than shaping it to work for you. Identity dictates behavior. You will no longer act as someone who struggles with discipline. You will adopt the identity of a person who performs necessary actions automatically, effortlessly, and consistently. Every micro habit, every repeated behavior is a reinforcement of this identity, strengthening the alignment between action and self-perception. You will schedule behaviors during your natural energy peaks, making the person you become fully integrated with the times when your mind is sharpest and most capable. The alignment of identity, habit, and energy produces an unstoppable force that operates without conscious negotiation. You will act because the person you are does not negotiate action, it executes. Reflect. If your identity demanded execution, would hesitation even exist in your daily schedule? Micro habits are not trivial. They are the building blocks of mastery. You will implement the 2-minute rule with precision. Every habit is broken down into a version so small that refusal is impossible. You will align these atomic actions with periods of peak alertness, ensuring that even on low-energy days the system operates, action occurs, and momentum persists. Habit size is irrelevant. Execution frequency is critical. You will understand that small actions, performed consistently, accumulate exponential returns over time, transforming struggle into automatic achievement. You will organize your day around chronotype-specific tasks. Early birds will harness the quiet morning hours for deep work, complex problem-solving, and high-value decision-making. Night owls will leverage late-night windows for creative output, strategic thinking, and uninterrupted focus. You will match effort to energy rather than arbitrarily imposing activity, minimizing wasted energy, maximizing output, and ensuring that every action is aligned with natural physiological readiness. Execution becomes predictable, reliable, and inevitable. Hold on a minute. Consider the tasks you currently force at the wrong time. How much faster could they be accomplished if aligned with your energy flow? You will remove friction proactively. Temptations, distractions, and unnecessary decisions are eliminated, leaving a clear path for habitual execution. Every environment, every desk, every schedule, every app, and every tool is engineered to produce the desired behavior automatically. You will no longer rely on motivation, and you will no longer wait for ideal conditions. Instead, you will construct conditions that make action effortless, allowing habit to operate independently of willpower, fatigue, or external circumstances. The architecture of your environment dictates the trajectory of your day, and you will design it with uncompromising precision. Reflection is essential. You will monitor patterns, identify energy troughs, and adjust habit deployment accordingly. Every habit is evaluated, every cue tested, every routine refined. You will track alignment with natural alertness and adjust execution windows to ensure maximum efficiency. You will not allow poor timing, fatigue, or misalignment to derail performance. Discipline is a result of meticulous observation, continuous adjustment, and deliberate structuring of both environment and action. Chapter 5. The Ultimate Discipline Blueprint. You will prioritize habit formation over reliance on fluctuating willpower because sustainable growth is achieved through automated systems that operate consistently, predictably, and in alignment with your natural energy patterns. You will understand that every attempt to rely solely on willpower is temporary, vulnerable to fatigue, and ultimately inefficient. Your energy cycles dictate when high-effort action is viable, And systems designed around these cycles create results that cannot be derailed by temporary weakness or distraction. You will build a structure where disciplined action occurs automatically, allowing willpower to serve only as a precise instrument for initiation and calibration. Pause and consider. How many times have you wasted energy on brute force effort that could have been systematized into effortless execution? Flexibility is essential. You will recognize when to apply concentrated willpower and when to defer to established routines. High alert periods demand deliberate focus for new behaviors, while low energy windows require reliance on habit to maintain momentum. You will observe energy peaks and troughs, adjusting execution without hesitation, optimizing output while minimizing wasted effort. Discipline is not rigid. It is strategic alignment of energy, action, and systems. You will internalize this principle and implement it relentlessly. Ask yourself now, are you working harder than necessary, or are you working smarter by letting structure carry your effort? Your personalized roadmap begins with assessment. You will identify your chronotype, map high-value tasks to peak energy windows, and schedule initiation of new behaviors with precision. Habits are prioritized according to long-term impact, executed consistently, and reinforced through repetition during optimal periods. Micro habits are deployed during low-energy windows to maintain progress and sustain momentum. Every action is aligned with physiology, environment, and identity to ensure execution is automatic, sustainable, and resistant to fatigue or distraction. What if every action were aligned with your peak energy? How much faster would you achieve mastery than by forcing arbitrary effort? You will integrate the lessons of prior chapters into a comprehensive, disciplined system. Willpower is the spark. Habit is the infrastructure. Environment, identity, and energy alignment create execution certainty. Each component interacts to reduce conscious struggle, amplify momentum, and produce results that are consistent, predictable, and replicable. You will no longer rely on ad hoc effort, fleeting motivation, or brute force self-control. You will engineer every day, every habit, and every action for maximum efficiency, reliability, and long-term impact. Reflect. What would it mean for your life if action became inevitable and resistance was eliminated by design? Accountability is internalized. You will no longer defer responsibility for outcomes to circumstances, motivation, or fatigue. You will act because the system you constructed demands execution, because alignment dictates inevitability, and because mastery is non-negotiable. Every deviation is analyzed, corrected, and prevented in the future through refined habit design, environmental adjustments, and strategic timing. You will cultivate an internal framework where discipline is integrated with identity, energy flow, and action. You will emerge from this understanding with complete control over your behavior, capable of executing complex routines effortlessly, sustaining high-value actions, and achieving long-term goals without reliance on fluctuating willpower. Pause. Imagine the freedom of a life where discipline is not a struggle, but an automatic consequence of the systems you built. You will schedule, execute, refine, and reinforce with precision, transforming every intention into measurable output. Your life becomes a system of automated execution, every decision calculated, every habit intentional, every action aligned with peak performance windows. From this moment forward, you will operate with uncompromising discipline, executing every task in alignment with energy, identity, and structure. Willpower is no longer a crutch. It is a tool for initiation. Habit is no longer incidental. It is your infrastructure. Environment, identity, and timing converge to make every action inevitable. Ask yourself finally, are you prepared to allow structure, timing, and aligned habits to dictate results rather than relying on fragile resolve? You will act, repeat, refine, and execute relentlessly because mastery demands nothing less, and failure is no longer tolerated. Every repetition, every scheduled action, every micro adjustment compounds into a life of precision, control, and consistent achievement. You will not negotiate. You will not delay. You will not blame circumstances. You will act, and your action will be unstoppable because it is aligned with energy, identity, and structure. Discipline is no longer external. It is internalized, automated, and inevitable. This is the system. This is the framework. This is the blueprint you will follow without exception.